All right, so we are going to talk about what a radian is. So by now you have learned about degree measure. And in a circle, we know that there are 360 degrees. And degree measure is one unit of measure for circles. But the other unit of measure is called radians. Radians are used in some sciences, engineering applications. So we're going to talk about them today. A radian is defined as a central angle that cuts off an arc that is equal to the length of the radius of the circle. So what we're going to do today is get some hands-on look at what a radian is. So this is called junk drawer radian measure. So to participate today, you're going to need a pencil, piece of string or ribbon, scissors, and then some flat candies. So I've got a couple different types here. We're going to demonstrate with both. So I'm going to start with the dots. So what I want to do is I want to line them up to make a radius of my circle. And then I'm going to take my string and I'm going to measure that. And so I'm going to mark off my dots, my 4 dot candies are from here to here. And then I'm going to move my candies out of the way. I'm going to mark the center of my circle. And then I'm going to take the string. Now you could use string or you could get a compass and use a compass. So if you have a compass looks like this. You can measure out the length just like I did with the string. That's how long my 4 dot candies are. And with the compass, I would do this. I would put it in the center, and then I would make my circle around. I can do the same thing with the string. As long as I hold one side of the string, so I'm using a tack here, and then I put my pencil here, and I go around with the string. And if you're having trouble, you can mark it in different areas like that, and then come around and connect it with a pencil. So I took a minute and I drew my circle. Now this is called junk drawer radian measure because these are just items that I could find in my junk drawer to help me draw out that. If I don't have string, I can use dental floss. And so right now I am marking my circle. This is where I started. So this would be, if I was talking in degrees, this would be 0 degrees, and it would be 360 once I complete the circle. And then on the other side, this would be 180 degrees, right? And up here, straight up here, around here would be 90 degrees. And straight across from the 90 degrees would be 270 degrees. So now, to understand radians, so I'm going to write my radians in a different color. This would be 0 radians. And radians doesn't have, we don't write a degree, we don't write like a degree symbol. Sometimes you'll see the term RAD used after it. But there is no symbol to indicate radians. And so I'm going to take those same 4 candies and I'm going to line them up my circle. And I'm not putting them outside the circle like this. I'm putting them so that where the center of the candy would be is laying on my circle. And so what the definition of the radian measure said, it says a radian is the central angle that cuts off an arc that is equal to the length of the radius of the circle. So we know that the 4 candies made up my radius. So right here, this would be 1 radian. And then if I went 4 more, this would be 2 radians. And then another 4 more, this would be 3 radians. And then if I took, to get to 180, look at, it's about 1 more of these candies. So half the circle is just past 3 radians. So let's keep continuing. I've got 4 radians now. Five radians. 6 radians. And let's see, I need about 2 additional candies to get back to my starting point. So this circle, what a radian is there is about 6.28 radians to get all the way around. And from earlier, we learned that the circumference is pi times the diameter, or the circumference is 2 pi r. So 1 radian is the same as the radius of whatever circle I have. So the circumference, the complete outside edge, would be 2 pi times my 1 unit, my 1 radius here, or the complete circle would be 2 pi to get around, and that's where I get the 6.28. So 2 pi. And halfway, so if this is 2 pi, a complete rotation, 2 pi radians, and think about what is 2 pi? 2 pi is 2 times 3.14, which is approximately 6.28. To go halfway around, I'm talking about half of 2 pi, or pi. To go half of the pi around, so half of this semicircle, this would be pi divided by 2 radians. And remember, this pi is not a symbol for radians. It means 3.14 approximately. So 3.14 divided by 2 will give you the decimal to get this quarter of the way around. And then if I go pi, and I want to go halfway between pi and 2 pi, well, this is pi over 2. This is 2 of those pi over 2's, right? So give me pi. So this would be 3 pi over 2. So I've got 1 radius here, 1 length of radius there. This gives me 2 lengths of radius. This is 3 radians around. This would be 4 radians around. This would be 5 radians around. And this would be 6 radians around. Now, when I'm talking about in degrees, I was from 0 all the way to 360. So 1 radian, let's talk about approximately how many degrees is that? 1 radian, I know that 6.28 is equivalent to about 360. And pi, or 3.14, is equivalent to 180. So if I'm just talking about 1 radian, what central angle am I cutting off here? So how much is this? It's below 90. So 1 radian is approximately 57.3 degrees. So you might ask, well, how did you figure that out? So our book tells us that degrees, it gives us this proportion. Degrees divided by 360 is the same as radians divided by 2 pi. And another way we could write this is if I wanted to figure out the degree measure. Remember our steps in algebra here. If I wanted to isolate this, multiply both sides by 360. So getting rid of the 360 here. And when I do that, the 360 and the 2 will divide out, leaving me with 180. I'll be left with degrees on the left, and then radians times 180 over pi. So this is one way to convert. So I said to you that this length here was 1 radian. So if I take, and I want to find the degree measure, I'm going to put in 1 for radians and 180 divided by pi, and that will give me the number of degrees. So I'll pull out my calculator. And I'll do 1 times 180 divided by pi. So you have a pi button here. You have to hit second, and then the caret symbol. And now here is my approximation of 1 radian. So 57.295. I rounded this to 57.3 degrees. So I can say 1 radian is approximately this. So I did this using those dots candies, and I can do the same thing using these M&Ms. So let's look at how that would work. So my radius is bigger, you can see, compared to the dots. And let's look at the radians around. So you can see the bigger circle still take the